back. And check to see if we're streaming, if we're live, where we say we're going to be live. Sometimes
Yeah,
these
last
things take a
time
while.
X rugged us. He said about 11 minutes in, so.
Yeah. Okay, so YouTube's up. I did notice. Okay, and X is up. I did notice that. Yeah, last week we got rugged on X. Not sure why. Oddly enough, we had the most viewers on that video that we've had on any video on X. We're still trying to beat the number of consecutive viewers or concurrent viewers that we used to get on Tavern. I mean, Tavern, we were like at 200 plus. It's crazy to think about that. Tavern, we had over 200 people at one point. Um, Considering that it's a much smaller platform, and I would say limited mostly to Farcaster people.
Oh,
So
I would hard agree that it's mostly Farcaster people. So that was actually amazing.
yeah, and still miss Tavern. If it was still up, I would be using Tavern. But unfortunately, we're still waiting on
They
news from
they
Ben. And
completely shut it down, or
Brennan, by the way. Sorry, not Ben. What the heck am I thinking about? No, just the TLDR. Brennan has some health issues and has not been able to update the site. So we're just hoping the best for his recovery. The site platform obviously is secondary.
Yes, but
yeah,
it's really shown he's the driving force behind it.
Yeah.
And so it's like a one-to-one correlation. So we're wishing him all the best because he used to pop into a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
sessions and just kind of catch us up, and we've gotten to know him very well because he would, like check, right, like his users are using it, so he would jump into hundreds of taverns, and even if it was just to say hi. So he's become kind of like a secondary member of almost everyone's, show or group or whatever, because we're so used to having him pop by and say hi. So he's definitely missed because we used to see him every week several times. So I hope he's doing really well. And basically what I miss is him saying hi. Like
Yeah.
the platform's great, but I really miss him a lot because he had great insight as a builder
Yeah.
and as a user and as someone who was kind of bridging the gap between Web 2 and Web 3. So he was a great source of information and trends and all that kind of stuff. So he
Yeah.
was fun to chat with no matter your topic.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. So if we do have news, we'll share. Interestingly, or probably not interesting, I don't know. Interesting to me is I think we were the last. Crypto Sapiens was the last podcast to interview him, and we have a pod live in the live stream, but we never were able to get the full edit because his connection was actually pretty bad. So my editor is like, you have like 60 copies of his uh, audio and then video and then eventually just audio. And so my editor is like, I don't know what to do with all this. So we kept that as a live stream. If you want to go learn what Tavern is, you can find it in the Crypto Sapiens live library and listen to the conversation that Peachy and I had with him. And I think that was during the Consumers Take Action podcast that we hosted before Early Morning Crew, Peachy. What started all of this?
Yes, it totally was. And that was really, really fun to have guests from kind of all over Farcaster. In fact, my ritual when I hang out with you guys and when I do any Farcaster audio calls is now to burn my humankind candle so that I have an excuse to like do it. So now I associate hanging out with all of you guys with like delicious, wonderful smells. So it's a nice win-win for me because we had Sam on the show and convinced me hardcore to go into luxury candles, and I regret nothing except that I don't have more.
I know, but I pilled. What is it? I candle pilled or humankind pilled my family over the holidays. I think I bought 13, 16 candles, and I gifted them to aunts, cousins, nephews. Uh, yeah, all the way from LA to Colorado. So everyone's smelling good. Their homes are smelling good. All right, well, let's kick it off. I'm going to just give a quick update on Cabal because last week I made an announcement that Crypto Sapiens is going to be launching Cabal. I talked about channel tokens. I'm going to just really briefly because so much has happened in the last couple of days with, Cabal and channel tokens that I even forgot what it is that I said. So the first things first is if you go to both the pinned tweet on the Crypto Sapiens channel on Twitter and the pinned cast on my own account on Farcaster or Warpcast, you can see kind of all the details. Everything from the contract address, which is on base. It's important to recognize that this is on base, and kind of the idea behind it. The idea of Cabal, firstly, is to use it as a experiment in recognizing valuable contributions and contributors in a decentralized social graph like Farcaster. The other is to be able to reward them for those valuable contributions. So I think most of us here, I know all of us here are on Farcaster, the people that are on this call. And one thing that I know that is a gripe amongst many and probably amongst ourselves too is that it's really hard to surface people's content and just generally if you're a new person to make a dent in the network, right? In terms of like visibility and engagement. And so OpenRank really tried to approach this, from the ground up in terms of like, can we build an algorithm that allows for us to transparently, it's a key word here, transparently, and kind of show how we are calculating your weight, your reputation scores, and then use these scores to grow the network in a sustainable way, in a way that like matters, in a way that other people can use as well, right? Because people like Peachy said in her cast yesterday, right before I interviewed Sahil, the founder of OpenRank, was whether we know it or not, OpenRank and the reputation scores are being used to calculate token airdrops, to enable access to applications, uh, in channels. So it's good to understand how it works. So that's the back end. OpenRank has these reputation scores. They've now also created these leaderboards, and these leaderboards are open to anyone who has a Cura channel or Cura mod in their channels. And so you're able to visualize not just the reputation of people across Farcaster, but also the reputation of people within your channel. And the really cool thing that I learned is that these scores are literally just for your channel. And they don't necessarily cross over in terms of like how you can weigh or understand who's creating value on another channel. So they're really creating these two different like they're segmenting this reputation beyond the network to like channels. And this is what is being used to calculate token distributions using channel tokens, which is a product that they created using Cura. And so Crypto Sapiens is the first to launch a channel token. Again, I'm trying to keep this short and brief, but I'm not doing a really good job at it. Um, with the distribution of Cabal, it literally is out of my hands. 50% of it goes to an LP. 50% of it is in a distribution contract that's scheduled for being airdropped to channel members over the next 3 years. So whether you joined a year ago or whether you're going to join 2 years from now, there are tokens in that contract that are automatically being allocated to channel members. And there's a weekly claim. So it should be coming up soon because we launched on Thursday. So I'm going to check to see if the weekly claim is going to happen Thursday or Friday. But if you've been contributing and casting and engaging on the Crypto Sapiens channel over the last week, you will then again have more tokens allocated to you. I am like I've been saying a node in the network now of Cabal, and I've gone to the market and I've bought more. I was allocated some because I've there was a retroactive airdrop for the previous 60 days too. So all of these things have enabled me to hold a bag. And what I'm doing with these tokens is I am rewarding people that I feel should be included in this graph that may not have been either A, members previously, or B, currently members and contributing. So I'm using things like Stack, which have been part of my own creator stack, to retroactively airdrop tokens to those individuals who hold my podcast NFTs, for instance, who are members of my hypersub. So it's a really cool way to kind of like um, create density in your own creator graphs. And that might be what I write about next is, using Farcaster channels and channel tokens, uh, and the creator stack that some of us are using here. There's a density in that, um, community graph that we're building alongside our audience. Anyways, that was a little longer than I expected it, but hopefully that made sense. If not, just follow me on Farcaster or the Crypto Sapiens account on Twitter, and I'm doing my best to share some updates. I also have a manifesto coming up for Cabal exclusively, and then a very quick kind of distribution graph of like the token schedule and all that. Deployer was huge in helping me understand uh, how to go about that. And if you don't know who Deployer is, look up Ham, look at Banker. This person is just G. Like they're doing some crazy, amazing stuff. So
I wrote a whole thread last night because Deployer does not get enough credit on Farcaster. Because
you
I'll see
did.
things like, oh, this is the first time this has happened or the first time. And I'm like, no, it's not. He did that six
Yep.
months ago. You
Yep.
guys just didn't see it. So I was like, I got to put some good vibes out in the world here of like how fun the ham community is. Because
Yep.
they're a good group and they've been leaning in since the beginning. And I think it's because, he had a channel leaderboard 10 months ago, 11
Yeah.
months ago now. Like a lot of things that are the Legos that are starting to come together on Farcaster, he kind of piecemealed outside of Farcaster. And then when
Hmm.
he realized things didn't connect, he, connected it to Twitter, connected it to Farcaster, connected
Yeah.
things back. So it's fun to watch some of this become easier for non-devs to do
Yeah.
because he had to hard code a lot of that. And then as a user, when I go to implement my channel tokens, I'm going to click three buttons, whereas he had to build an
Yep.
entire ecosystem. So it's crazy to watch. Because if this was like, computers in the home or something like that, that took a decade. And in
Yeah.
Farcaster time, we're basically saying, one person had to build this out by themselves, be a
Hmm.
hardcore developer a year ago. And then now all of us as channel hosts are going to be able to pop these Legos in, click a few buttons, and have this ourselves. And I think to go from, zero to where we are now in less than a year is kind of crazy when we think about how fast Farcaster's moving. And that's what I always get excited about with this place is like every week there is something cool happening. And a lot of it is, built on top of other people's cool ideas and they're just coming to fruition and changing and evolving and, making it an awesome experience for all of us.
100% agree. I wanna also second that in terms of like what Deployer's been doing for so long, and recognize that when I was talking to OpenRank about channel tokens and Cabal, we look to Deployer and Ham a lot. Like so there are many of us, and I mean I'm not developing channel tokens. I didn't do had anything to do with this contract except being more like an advisor from the community. We recognize his value, Deployer, assuming his. I've never actually spoken to them, so I don't know who they are. Um, but I also want to recognize that developers of the caliber of OpenRank, and they're pretty amazing in their own right. They're looking to people like Deployer. So I think it's pretty cool to recognize community members who are just these cultural forces for doing what we're supposed to be doing with crypto, and it's experimenting. And I think a lot of the stuff that Ham has done. And the funny thing is, like, I actually I'm not even a Ham OG. I only know of Ham because of Peachy. Let's be honest. Um, but I do recognize Deployer from Twitter before Farcaster, and seeing that come together, it just makes a lot of sense. I am a Ham holder now, but definitely not as in the weeds as far as like being a community member. But I did do my research as to what they're doing over there and what Ham is and their what is it TN 100x token and Ham chain. Like it's pretty dope. Like the LP and kind of the staking mechanisms, all these things. Like don't be surprised if Cabal ends up doing a lot of these things because I feel like Deployer has set a roadmap for success with tokenomics on Farcaster. It's really great.
Yeah, and the Open Rank team is killing it. Every time I log into Cura, there's something new.
Hmm.
And I don't think they get enough credit for how fast they're shipping because a lot of their stuff just works pretty seamlessly. And I'm even seeing some people who are still struggling with some of the other bots say, like, you can kind of hack it with Cura and have Cura check for the NFTs and Cura check for hyper subs and a few other things when you're trying to gate your channels. So I feel like they're kind of doing this slow burn, but they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Cura bot is hanging out on 80% of the channels within the year because it's just getting really, really powerful every iteration.
Agreed. GM Diana, good to see you.
Hi, sorry for hopping on late. Had an
No,
early morning doctor's appointment.
it's fine. It looks like at least we're all a little warmer than Gramajo.
Did
Wherever you are,
you see
Gramajo, wishing you the best, buddy.
did you see my
I'm
message in the chat? I was like, wait,
I'm cozy, man.
first of all, can you demonstrate what that is? Is that a scarf or is it a hoodie or
It's a scarf.
Yeah, looks like a San Francisco scarf.
Yeah, it's a scarf.
there's like drawstrings on it?
Yeah,
What do the drawstrings do?
It's an oversized scarf, so you can like tuck it in a little bit.
It's what they
I
wear in
like
San
it.
Francisco, Diana. I'm surprised you're from the Northwest. Those cute little things look like something the Northwest would love to.
I don't wear scarves.
I
I
don't
You
just
were there
braid
in
usually
the
it.
either.
snow? You were in the snow this weekend. At least that's the video you uploaded. You don't wear scarves
Just
then?
zip up. You just zip up. Zip up.
Wow.
Or just like wear like a net gaiter and then zip up. I actually do have this like hoodie that I ski with, and
Mm,
that's kind of like that's I'll have to send a pic to the chat, but it's hard to describe, but that's more like Gramajo's vibe.
yeah. I'm a coward. I suck in the cold.
It's really just all what your body's used to.
Yeah. I'm a
I don't know.
tropical.
Yesterday, I pretty much came here, and there was like already 20, 30 centimeters, like quite a lot of snow. It's like barely could walk outside, let alone drive.
Wow. That's wild.
So
Wait, where are you based again, Chris?
right now, it's just for a couple of weeks. I'm visiting my parents, like at my hometown in Macedonia. It's just a small
Oh,
town,
nice.
practically by a lake, but it's like full filled with snow practically right now. Just because we have the
Yeah.
holidays these 2 weeks. So it's like we have New Year's Eve today, actually, technically.
Oh, okay. That's almost in line timing wise with like the Chinese New Year because that's coming up soon. Is it the
Hmm,
same?
really?
Is New Year the same for you guys every year, or does the date change?
Guys, I mean, it's we celebrate the normal New Year. This is just like a tradition that stayed. It's like two
Uh,
2 weeks after the New Year we have, just because it's like the Orthodox calendar.
okay,
It's like
gotcha,
with the
gotcha,
Russians, like the Russian holidays are pretty much the same.
gotcha. Nice.
Well, cool. Let's jump into some of the things that we talked about wanting to talk about. Let's see. So we went over Open Rank. We talked about Cabal. We also want to talk about, I guess, what's happening in the gaming community. Before we do, though, I feel like everyone here now is a bit of a rodeo aficionado. I'll put it that way. Maybe not Maxi yet, but aficionado. I've seen some of y'all. Well, maybe not Diana. We all know what happens. Diana will be the last one to jump on there. But-
Wait. I just need to defend myself real quick. I
Okay,
have
go.
been on rodeo
Let's go.
and I have seen it, and I'm pretty sure I posted stuff on it. I'm trying to pull it up now to prove
Wait,
it.
you've actually put your art up there?
I think I posted something. Like it might not be art, like art specifically, but it might just be like
I
photos
found
of
it.
Oh,
You posted some
nice.
gorgeous photos.
What? Wait, I missed
Let's
these
And
links.
she's
go.
collected too. Boom, both sides of the market.
She's collected 10.
Thank you, Peachy.
She's collected
Let's
10 things.
go. Peachy's
I'm,
got my
I'm
back. I
the only
appreciate
one
it.
that has like I'm the only one that has no presence on rodeo though. And I'm launching a creative project right
Wow.
now. So like what the hell is rodeo?
Oh my
Yeah, go
gosh.
shit on Chris, not me.
I know. Wait, so Tree Girl, you minted something on August 13th, so you're an early adopter for sure. But you're also
Yes.
the only collector for your first one. I was gonna make an offer, because I like to go back and collect the first, the Genesis piece of my friends. Are you gonna let it go? I don't know if you're gonna let it go.
I'm still trying to pull. Okay. My Genesis. Oh,
You're the
is
only
it only one
collector.
person? Oh, is it only one
Collectors.
person can collect it?
No, no,
I thought a
no.
lot of people could.
A lot of people
Okay.
can. But the thing is, you probably didn't make a lot of noise about it. August 13th is also like it was very early, so not a lot of people were on
Yeah.
rodeo collecting. But it has a 24-hour limit, and once that
Oh,
expires,
okay.
you just have to buy it off the open market.
Which is very new.
Oh.
I think that's what made things go really crazy last week was this whole thing of if you missed out before it was like too bad. And a
Yeah.
lot of people were not really going to OpenSea and flipping them. So they
Yeah.
introduced this whole view offer and now it
Mhm.
pops up for every single collector. And it's a rush of like who's gonna click it first? Or are you gonna like wait and like see if, the market will continue. So I think that's what really drove kind of last week's like fervor around rodeo because it was like, hey, there's a secondary market now. This is kind of cool because it's not really about setting your own price. It's about this 5x, 10x, and eventually, hopefully, 100 and 1000x. So there's
Mhm.
no like, undercutting somebody for a penny or anything like that, like on OpenSea. It's more everybody gets an equal chance to sell if somebody wants it, and they can just keep upping their offer every 24 hours if no one buys. And I think that's driven a lot of
Mhm.
FOMO. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Farcaster frame
Mm.
soon of like, hey, there's, here's the rodeo offers frame and you can browse them and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be, I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It seems like it's put that fun back in NFT collecting.
Yeah.
And at first, even as an artist, I was a little sketched about it. I wasn't sure how I felt. Um, but now I'm seeing so many people join rodeo that aren't on Farcaster. So it's a really interesting distribution mechanism. And when you join for the first time, if you have a Farcaster X account, it brings over a lot of your social graph. And a big part of it is social, like what your friends are buying. And that is definitely terrible as a collector because you're just constantly inundated with amazing stuff. And it's really easy to discover new people through your friends. And if you
Yeah.
have similar tastes as them, you follow 5 or 6 really hardcore collectors, and your rodeo feed never stops. And that's what's, I think, so
Mm.
interesting to me is to just watch, constant art. Like, it really seems like artists are leaning in and saying,
Mhm.
"Hey, I will try this. Let's play." And I don't know how long it's going to last, but I could spend hours
Yeah.
scrolling that rodeo feed. And that to me is a little terrifying because I keep adding money to the wallet and I have no idea how much I've actually spent.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Okay, super cool. So I can actually go to OpenSea and list my old rodeos.
No, it's already. I mean, it's already there. Like it's on OpenSea. But what happens? You don't have to do anything. Like so, right now, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make an offer. I'm gonna give you a 5x offer for what you paid. This is how simple the UI is.
Oh, okay. I
I'm
see.
gonna
Okay.
say so I have to hold to make that offer. And to the point of Peachy, like this is way too easy. So now on your Genesis
Okay.
piece, I've made a 5x offer. Up to you if you want to accept that, because you have it's basically a one of one at this point of your
Yeah.
Genesis NFT. You might not want to part with it. That would suck because I love you and what you do, and I would love to hold your Genesis piece. But hey, if you don't want to let it go, that's fine. I do also last night I got this one, which is Gramajo's piece that goes with
Ooh,
his
that's a
article.
sick one.
That
Yeah,
is pretty dope.
that is
This is
pretty
some
dope.
cool pixel art, and
It's
so
animated too, right?
it does at least not animating on my screen.
Oh no, I thought it was animated.
No,
No, but I should animate it. I'm sure it shouldn't be too hard.
I'm giving you
so
extra
much cool
credit. I was like, "Oh, it's
stuff.
so cool. It's such cool pixel art." And so Tree Girl, what Humpty's not telling you is that you get a cool badge if you have a full set of an artist's work. So that's what he really wants. Is he
Oh,
wants that street credit that says full set, and he'll
well,
never
it's
be
not
able to
hard.
get it.
It's not hard to do that right now because I have 3 things on there, so it's not very hard to
I
get.
know,
But you
but
know
you would have
what?
to
You
let
know
him
what?
go.
Yes, but
Yeah,
you have to sell that first
yeah.
Yeah,
one because
yeah.
there's only one person who can ever have a full set of your collection because you have a one of one.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's the competition right now is if you'll let
dang!
it go.
I almost just clicked approve on that offer,
Wait,
so I'm
what?
glad you said that.
Peachy,
Thank you, Peachy.
Peachy, yo!
I know who my real friends are in this chat.
Wait, I'm supporting you with a 5x offer. Peachy's just saying, hang on to it.
You're
Don't take his
supporting
money.
yourself. You're supporting yourself.
How? The badge will give me nothing but street cred.
Yeah,
Street
street
cred.
Your
cred.
your NFT will give me joy. But
What if
fine.
I what
Keep
if
the
I
joy away
what if
from
I
me.
okay, what if I start posting hardcore on rodeo and I become like a top rodeo
Oh,
person and then you're the only one that can have this badge of collecting my whole collection.
that
I don't
shows how
know.
big a fan I am of you.
I
I would think
know,
that you
but
would want that. Like, yo, Humpty
well,
is a
hey,
G before I
Humpty,
was big and huge. He
if you
collected this
really
one of
okay,
one.
but if
I
you
know what's
really
about to
believed in
happen. I
me,
know what
if you
I
really believed in me,
Diana
would you
is
just be
a
making a
master
5x
negotiator. Here we go.
offer for $1.33? That's how much you value my artwork.
See,
I
I knew
mean,
this became about money more than friendship in a heartbeat. By the way, rodeo is full of degenerates. Let's be honest. Rodeo's full of degenerates. I went to the collectors tab for the first time last night as I was collecting things, and I realized people are buying 100 pieces of the same thing because
dang.
these degenerates realized something that I didn't because I was in it for the vibes and for friendship and for love. Diana, Jesus, pay attention here. And I was just collecting, right? What I didn't realize was these 5x offers at minimum are coming in through your feed a lot. Like a lot of my things that I'm collecting get 5x offers a lot, which means that in seconds, like after the market closes on a piece, you will get a 5x offer. So if I have 100 pieces of something, I'm getting a 5x multiplier on what I spent in like a day. So there is a profit to be made, but
Yeah.
that sucks because I was doing this for fun and I was like, I only have one piece of everybody's stuff. I can't be selling.
Oh, Humpty, you got to change it to 2 or 3. My
I
new
know.
default is
I
2 or 3
See?
so that I can keep one
Mm,
forever and then I can like basically I'm trying to think of like helping somebody out who missed it before,
Yeah.
not really like making a
No,
profit.
you're not. You're being a degenerate. Stop,
I'm
stop,
being
validating your
1%.
degeneracy. Going, no,
1%
no.
degen. But no, Zach made a good point. So Zach Lip
Yeah.
has been a really hardcore rodeo person, and he's a photographer. Has never minted his own pieces, and decided to do rodeo first. And it went really well for him, and he deserves all the kudos because it was not. People think it was overnight success. No, it was him working on this platform since day one to build up a following and show himself as like a serious curator and collector. And then when he decided to mint his own work, the market responded very favorably. But he was mentioning like some people kind of got into a little bit of a competition amongst his friend groups of who could collect the most because they were like, you're letting this art go for a really cheap price. So they kind of started this like meta of grab 10, grab 20, grab 30 just to support your friends. because if you think their art is worth more, you can hook them up by minting a ton of pieces. And that's working out really well for them because as he's minting now on his third piece, a lot of folks want that original one. And a lot of
Mhm.
folks are like, well, I can sell it because the creator still gets a cut.
Yeah,
So it's like you're still helping out the creator. And now they're saying, like, oh, I have, 10 copies to let go. And I'm like, well, I have one. So I'm not playing this game because I want to
exactly.
keep my full set badge. So it's good
One
like gaming
one
mechanics.
Yeah.
one question about rodeo though, like for example, because I was just trying to sign up, and we are about to launch a creative project in like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks. Uh, can you actually pass over your Farcaster following to rodeo? Because I don't see a Farcaster login option. We have to build it from scratch just on rodeo.
No, there's definitely a way to connect your Farcaster and X account and import your
Mhm.
following.
Mm.
And also, are there frames where you can just, is it possible, just like Zora, for example, where in Zora you can just share the link on Farcaster and people can
Yes.
just mint in frame? You can do that
Yes.
with Rodeo as well, I would assume, right?
You
Not in
can.
frame.
And well, yeah, it it
Hmm,
it it shows up as a frame on Farcaster, but clicking the mint
yeah.
button is like half and half if it's going to work inside of Farcaster or if it's going to pop you outside of Rodeo. I'd say my
Oh,
success rate is like 50-50. And I think some of that's just rainbow some days. Um, but what's cool too is that people share this thing called their top nine of like the top nine things they've collected. And that helps things go viral too. Because then,
Hmm,
even if people don't see your individual frame, they might see it as part of somebody's top nine, click through that. So there's a lot of virality. And we've even, over the past week, we saw some performance art happen where some artist, a
cool.
collaborative group, changed all of their art on Rodeo to just kind of show that like they could and kind of what that looks like, and that drove a lot of fever inside of the market. And then we saw a few people use it as marketing. So they literally said, like, you don't have to mint this. I just want to get this message out here because this is a good distribution mechanism. And I thought that was fascinating that there's enough distribution on Rodeo that it's worth putting up a literal like screen essay or something, and the intent is not to make money, it's to get out a message that a mint is upcoming,
mm,
or they want to do a token airdrop. We even saw token airdrops from
yeah.
people that collected rodeo pieces, and this is something that went from a few people were doing it last week to like 5 or 6 new metas dropping on rodeo within the week because of the social graph and the distribution
Cool.
and the fact that you get a lot more overlap because of that mechanism of, hey, your friends collected this, your friends collected this. And you don't necessarily see that on the Farcaster feed, but
Hmm,
you're seeing it in the rodeo feed, but it's
Hmm.
it's intrinsically tied together. So I think this is again one of those powers of the Legos that if you follow people on Farcaster because you like their taste, you follow them on Rodeo. And now I'm actually doing the reverse. I'm finding a lot of artists on Rodeo
Hmm.
that are not super active on Farcaster. So I probably wouldn't have found them on Farcaster. But now I did. I subscribed, or followed them, joined their channels, and, put on notifications because I want to see what they post. They're
Hmm.
cool. So it's like it's really neat to kind of see this all converging finally that like this is I think what the Farcaster Rails were built for. Is like imagine if you join a new platform and you don't have to start from scratch. You have built-in friends, you have a built-in feed. It's never blank. And that's terrifying as a person who is clicking
that's
because there's always something new. But it's fascinating as a creator to say, could I use this as a different distribution? Like, in fact, I'm going to put the State of the Union on there next week once I set up the permanent event frame and say, like, this isn't something you need to mint. It's just for fun. It's just to like
mhm.
get the message out and see if I can get some new people to join the call who might not have seen it on Farcaster but would see it on Rodeo. And that's really crazy to think we could be mixing art and marketing in a new way.
Hmm. That's
Okay, I
dope.
just downloaded the Rodeo app on my
Amazing.
phone, and I'm pretty sure it's over for me.
Yeah, it is. RIP your funds on base. I keep moving. So I think I'm smart for this, but I only
What the?
move over enough for like 100 mints every once in a while. But I've done that, I think, like 4 times at least now. Also, I lost like 0.01 ETH because I made the mistake, and I hope no one else makes this mistake. I sent zero point zero 0.01 ETH directly to my Rodeo wallet, which is a no-no. So that's in the ether somewhere. You're supposed to move it to the wallet that's
Mm,
connected to the Rodeo app and then import those tokens into your Rodeo wallet using the UI. So I don't know
Okay.
where my zero point zero 0.01 ETH went. I've messaged support now twice or three times, and I haven't heard back. We'll see. It doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but it
Also,
doesn't matter.
one question over there, like when it comes to rodeo and stuff, what do you think like this means really for the Zora? Because Zora hasn't been showing up that much lately.
I'm willing to
good
throw some
question.
shade. I
I
I
know
think
Pichu is ready on this one.
yeah, because okay, Zora changed things overnight, but what was worse about it was they didn't say anything and then they pretended it didn't happen and they offered no support. So when I was posting questions like, yo guys, like I swear yesterday I did this and it worked and today I can't limit editions, I can't set the mint price, what's going on? It was just radio silence because they wanted to pretend it didn't happen. And all it would have taken was an email to say, "Hey, we're about to pivot and here's going to be like the major changes that come up, please try this experiment with us." And I would have been like, okay. But to pull the rug from me underneath, I was in the middle of a collection, I was doing one of ones. The fact that they just never responded publicly to anything, like, rubbed me completely the wrong way. And I'm like super anti Zora now, and I only use it um, when I have to because I need to price something in like Moxie or some other token. And I think a lot of artists felt that way and rebelled, and they've stopped posting on Rodeo, stopped posting on Zora, gone to Rodeo. And in theory, they were very, very similar mechanisms. But Rodeo came out the gate and said, this is our new meta. This is how Rodeo works as a product. They separated it out from Foundation, which I think was a great move. And they were very clear about who they were, whereas Zora changed overnight with zero communication and took them weeks to even say, this is our new strategy and we think you're going to make it up in volume and secondary. And if they had just sent that email the week before, I think a lot more artists would have been patient with them. But the fact that they kind of abandoned us, a lot of us just said, okay, fine, we abandon you too. And there's like nothing they could say or do at this point that would bring me back because it was handled so poorly. And I think
Wow.
most artists feel that way. And several artists have blacked out their art on Zora and re-uploaded it on Highlight and things like that. So I don't think they realize like how much they hurt the community. And a lot of artists didn't know how to do it. And once a few paragraph articles went out of like, here's how to black out your art, here's how to remint on Manifold or Highlight, you can take back control. A lot of people did it, and I think we'll see more of that. And I think it was fuel for the fire for Rodeo. And if you look back at this as like a case study, there should not be this much of a discrepancy, but there's a great dashboard called the Farconomy, and you can see how many mints are happening on Zora versus Rodeo versus Hypersub, kind of anything that has a Farcaster connection, and the numbers are startling. Like the artist revolt is real, and I think it took a few months to really shake out. And now that there's a direct competitor, I, I think you're going to see Rodeo win this use case.
Well, and so I want to say two things, and I wrote it in the chat, but Rodeo did get heat early for splitting with Foundation. They were like, "Oh, you're ignoring all the creators on Foundation." I remember joining Twitter Spaces where people were very upset at the fact that like the team was like focusing on something entirely different. I think a lot of that people have forgotten. We have short-term memories here, but Rodeo as an app is revolutionary. The UI is unlike anything I've ever seen in a consumer crypto app. I don't think, I mean, even Warpcast looks clunky compared to this. This fits a lot of our natural behaviors when it comes to like social apps. In fact, I think it's even better than some of the social behaviors. I've made no secret. My favorite social app is Pinterest, and it's so easy to save things and create boards and stuff like that, and follow other people, and kind of not collect, but also like save what they're finding on the web. For me, this is like that 10x. It's an improvement on what we've seen in terms of like how it compares to Zora. Not even in the same conversation. So I think even the Zora app is miles away, miles behind what Rodeo has been able to achieve in terms of its UI. So, you know, I,
Hmm.
I think
It's good to
creators
know.
are happy, maybe, because there's this new dynamic that Rodeo has been able to um, innovate, and now it's getting rewarded for that kind of innovation.
That's really good to know, honestly.
I was gonna ask Diana, is like, does Rodeo do podcast NFTs? We'll see. Will Rehash be the
We'll
first to
see.
drop some podcast shorts on?
I don't know. I sort of
Hmm.
like
You
think that
can
the
add
visual and the
links.
oh yeah, I kind of think that like the visual and the audio should be separate. Like I don't think I would enjoy this rodeo feed as much if there were podcasts on it. Not gonna lie. Like as a podcaster, I'm saying that. Like yeah, I think I like that Pods has like a dedicated platform just for podcasts. I think that that's like a separate medium and it's like targeting people that are looking for different things.
Yeah,
Like when I'm like scrolling my rodeo feed, I'm not like I'm not trying to like listen to a podcast or like I'm not looking for to like discover new podcasts even.
yeah,
I'm kind of just I don't know, I'm like looking for cool art or
yeah.
like seeing, how I can support friends or like I'm in a different mindset entirely. But this this shit is like straight up my alley. Like rodeo is I think what happened maybe is like I joined on it yet and it wasn't super fun and so then I just dropped off and like didn't touch it again. But this is like right up my alley. This is like what got me deep into crypto in the first place was like NFT, the NFT craze back in like 2020 and 2021. So this is you guys got me with this one.
Well, that's good. Welcome to the new web and the addictions that come with the new web.
Yeah,
I don't
as
know
if
about
I
anybody
didn't
else, but
need
it's my
as
favorite.
if I needed another addiction.
I don't know. This is still my favorite consumer crypto app. Like right before this was Moshi. I love Moshi, but this
Yeah.
definitely took the cake. I think it's much better.
What happened to Moshi, by the way? I loved Moshi too.
They're still up. No, did
Oh,
something
okay,
happen?
okay.
No, they're still there. They I
Okay.
think they did some really cool stuff with like stickers
Hmm.
and borders and stuff where there's some creative share there where if people use your border, and it's again, it's a very low price mint, so you might get like a
Hmm.
penny or something like that. But it was kind of cool that you could make stickers, and if
Yeah.
people used your stickers, you could get some too. The Japanese community really leaned hard into it, and I think it's more
Mm,
like I feel like moshis are more like pictures between friends and sharing moments. And rodeo is now becoming more like art and photographs that you want to sell versus moshis are like I did a bunch of moshis from like base camp and I only ever thought like the 5 people in the photo would mint it, right? Like it wasn't meant for thousands of people, it was meant for a small group. So I think they're very different use cases, and I think we're going to see moshi pop again when like Farcon happens and ETH
Hmm.
Denver and like events where people want to capture and share moments with their friends. Because it's the same way, like, I don't know, like those Instapics, from Polaroid. Like you would
yeah.
buy those for your friends and hand out the stickers. It's like Moshi's kind of the digital version of that to me. It's like, oh, I want to like have this moment with my friends, so I'm willing to pay,
Hmm.
25 cents instead of just airdropping it to them and
Hmm.
making it a little more fun. And I think the borders and the stickers really help capture those, like, this was a moment, instead of just a random photo.
Agreed. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry. Go
Let
ahead,
me know
Dominic.
if you guys can hear me.
Yeah, hear you loud and clear, bro,
Yes.
and
Oh,
see
awesome.
you.
That was weird. I was talking for like a hot second.
Oh,
Um, all good. Uh, I think it's interesting that like it took road like I'm trying to like, grapple with the idea of like why did it take rodeo to come around and how come like Farcaster or Warpcast didn't have something like this, Like as an example, like we've all been able to link our Twitter accounts with our Warpcast accounts for a while now. And back like over a year ago, there was an NFT um, tab on Farcaster or Warpcast. So I'm like struggling to see how, like, why did it take this, like rodeo, to get this experience? I feel like it was an easy slam dunk for Warpcast to deliver something like this a while back. Maybe not as slick, um, but it just seems odd to me that like I logged into rodeo and immediately I had all my Warpcast friends, my Twitter friends. I could see what they're collecting, put offers, like just like the basics, like the core basics. I don't know how we didn't have that on Warpcast before. And I think it goes back a little bit to artists feeling a little bit disenfranchised on the Warpcast app a while back. Um, I think it's just nuts that it took this long. Like you said, like we've had Zora. I don't know how Sora wasn't able to deliver this. What they're doing on their side, and even for me, like as a writer right now, uh, like I feel like turning off minting for my paragraph posts and just doing it via Rodeo. Um, it's just weird.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, because I've never liked the model that was in paragraph to begin with, and Hunty's heard me complain about this for months, which is there isn't like a contract or a page you can go to for my profile. Like if you go to OpenSea, whether you like OpenSea, whatever, but like if you go to like OpenSea, you can see all my rodeo posts very easily. So as someone that's been spending time to make these cover images for my newsletter, like my ultimate goal, and it's a very simple goal, has always been to have all those posts in one location very easily. Um, and that hasn't been possible for like the past. I've been in Paragraph now for a year. It hasn't been possible for the last year, which I think is nuts. And then Rodeo comes along, and now I'm just thinking about turning it off on Paragraph and just doing it on Rodeo because it'll be all one centralized location. So um, I'm glad that they're here pushing some of these boundaries. And it seems like a very big missed stop for a lot of different companies out there.
Yeah, I mean, I think this goes back to sometimes, like, if you listen to the Farcaster team talk about what they prioritize on Warpcast, and they've said it a few different ways, but it's a text-based app, and I think the algo favors that. And I think a lot of folks have seen that if you upload videos and photos and frames, there was a meta where like frames were like the thing and they went viral, and no matter what you put in a frame, it was good. And they kind of turned that off. And I think they keep trying to make it a text based platform, and we keep trying to make it not a text based platform. And I think that's like still the dichotomy we're fighting. It's like, what is Warpcast and what should be the core content there? And the algo, if it favors text, then it doesn't favor artists, right? Like if it treats all content equally, that's one thing, but I don't believe that's the case. I believe that they want more text and the algo likes it. And that's hard when you're doing long form content because Paragraph is a frame, it's, a mini app. Um, it's hard when you're doing mints because mints, pop up as frames. It's hard when you're doing visual stuff. And I think that's where they have to decide, like, is all content truly equal on the platform, or do they really still want to lean in hardcore to this text-based stuff? Because if they decide that's what they want to do, that's fine. But then they're going to see a lot of people start posting things on Rodeo, and that's not what you want. Like, you don't want me posting about State of the Union on Rodeo. You want me posting that on Farcaster. You want me using events. You want me using all the Legos together. But if my content doesn't make it to the feed because it's not what the algo wants, people are going to start to shift their priorities and put things on different platforms. And a lot of people are cross posting to Twitter again, and that meta kind of died for a while, and now we're seeing it pop up again. So I think that's something the Farcaster team has to figure out, address, and kind of tell us like what's the direction they want to take, what do they want to be, and then content creators can decide, how much effort they're going to put into each platform and if they're going to stick with certain platforms. And a lot of people are having the same crisis you're having. It's like, well, do I lean into one of these Farcaster adjacent things, or do I, go back to posting long form on Twitter? Like, where am I going to get the best distribution? How many places do I have to post? And a lot of us would love to just post in one place. And I think a lot of us are realizing that's probably a pipe dream. We still have to do a lot of distribution channels, but it's exciting that there's options. Like you said, a year ago it was only Paragraph, and now the thought that you could be posting long form content on Rodeo, that's kind of crazy, right? Like, I think that's awesome. I would love to see that experiment.
Yeah, and I kind of understand what Diane, Free Girl saying is like. I don't know if I would post a whole podcast episode on Rodeo, and that's not kind of what I'm going after. It's more like it's that magic of like I'll go into the feed on Rodeo and it says Humpty, Tree Girl, Chris, and Peachy just minted this thing. It's like piecing together those bits of data to make discovery easier. So it's not necessarily I'm not saying like, hey, like it's kind of like daylight light, like light in terms of like light version. Um, like especially for as an example, like I saw Chris, he interviewed Jack, right? I would love for it to be like, hey, these 10 people in your network, whether they're on Twitter, Warpcast, wherever, minted this episode of Chris interviewing Jack from the Icebreaker team, Easy peasy.
I
Just
mean,
surface that. You don't need to like show me the whole podcast episode. Like it could still live in pods and all that, but just literally just tell me like what my friends are doing
Hmm.
on chain. Like, and it doesn't have to be crazy. Like I said, like daylight, I think has its place and has product market fit. Like if you want deeper insights like that, I'm like, hey, all your friends are claiming this airdrop. Um, cool. But like it seems weird that uh like Degen, for example, like every month we're doing this. I don't know, like how have we not had something social or fun with that? Like, hey, it's 2 p.m. February 1st, 2025, and 90% of your friends have already like claimed their tips and this is what they're doing with it. Like just follow the next step immediately after that. If they're all swapping out of Degen, cool, tell me, or just show like surface like little nuggets like that. And I feel like people would find value and more connection to their following. Like I don't know. It's thought.
sort of, sort of what you're saying is like the next step after interface,
Yeah, a little bit like
because interface
interfaces.
kind of shows
Yeah,
you, but not exactly. You have to stitch it together yourself on interface.
that's exactly it. Yeah, you're right. So like it's kind of like a little bit like interface. And again, I'm not trying to go after interfaces like money or whatever, like their lunch money, but like there has to be a light. Like that is what a social network is. Like a whole social network is like what are your friends doing online? Like uh, if another example, there was a San Francisco meetup last week here in San Francisco. I didn't go to it. Um, we should be able to surface within the feed like, hey, 30 people that live near you are going to this event and it's called Farcaster Meetup. Jeff's setting it up. Like, if I didn't get invited, like, okay, like maybe it's a exclusive event. I'm not gonna get invited. Cool, whatever. Like, let it be. But I should have been aware of that because, like, it's literally coming down to Jeff being like, "Hey, oh, I'm hosting an event. Oh, Gramalo's in the Bay Area. Like, let me shoot him an invite." Like, it should serve as that naturally. Like, I don't understand how a social network's not showing me the social parts.
Yeah,
My
especially
opinion.
because they put location
Yeah.
in as a searchable field, right? Like it's a thing now where when you update your location, that's something developers can pull. It's like this should be an easy Lego to start overlapping this stuff because you're right. Like I tagged a bunch of people into that because I was like, I did not see enough San Francisco people clicking OK on that event, and I tagged them when I happened to see it. But in theory, I shouldn't have even seen it, right? Like if I don't have anything to do with San Francisco, that was quote not relevant to me. But I was like, oh, some of my friends might like this, so let me tag them in. And I think we don't do enough of that on Farcaster. Like we don't tag people into stuff enough. Um, and I think maybe the network is waiting for us to do that instead of the tech to do it. And I would like the tech to do it. I'm like, please spoon feed me things that are cool. I need
Yeah,
more of
like
that.
it doesn't need to take over events. Like I'm not advocating that, but it should be able to be like in your feed, in your follow feed, as a type of an event, be like, hey, a bunch of people are going and early morning crew is hosting a burrito tryout, like it should help us a little bit. Obviously we have our own networks and stuff. Like we all each individually have our own networks. We're promoting it, we're doing our best. but it should kind of surface a little bit of that. It should tell someone like, hey, you're in the LA area and there's five degenerates trying burritos over here. Like, maybe you want to attend this and they see it's an open event and then they come. Like, hey, that's it. Like, I don't know.
I
And it's
like the
That's
so
idea
And
of like
good.
that's how we all
burritos
get
trying
murdered.
out.
Just
Can
kidding.
you imagine
that
little
is that
burritos
is that
trying out like
is
Be like it started as an innocent taco crawl.
yeah.
I watch too much like true crime and murder shit.
You and my wife, man. I do not understand this
I think it's just
fascination
all
with it.
women. I think it's just all women, like of a certain age. We
Yeah,
gotta learn how to protect ourselves out in that, wild, scary world. So it's just
sure.
important life skills.
Well,
Wait,
we're
can
at
I ask? Can I
yeah, we're
ask
at the top
something
of the
real
hour. I just
quick?
want to confirm who's sticking around because we haven't even touched gaming yet, which
Oh
was another
God.
piece of the conversation.
Oof. Well, unfortunately, I'll have to get going, but I would love to be part of that convo.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to drop as well at the top of the hour.
Oh no.
Yeah, we might
Okay.
have to kick that can because I think
Okay.
it's getting exciting. The same way rodeo is exciting, like social gaming is suddenly
Yeah.
exciting again. And
Yeah.
Yes.
it's because it's on the feed. Like I see my friends are playing a game and I'm like, I also want to play this
Hmm.
game. And it's getting exciting.
I'm
But
posting stuff
then
on Rodeo, by the way. Go
is
check me
rodeo?
out.
I don't want to start another. I don't want to start another topic, but then it's like, can you connect like social gaming and frames with rodeo?
Probably.
probably, yeah, not yet, but yeah, probably.
So I like the idea. I think Peachy kind of started this and Gramajo continued this idea of like the ability to like uh look at your collector graph on Rodeo and then do something with that. Like Peachy was saying that people are doing token
Yeah.
airdrops. I think Gramajo is saying he wants to like leverage that some way for his newsletter. Cabal's out there. I'm not saying this is happening, but I can imagine me putting something up on Rodeo and anybody who collects it could get a retroactive drop of Cabal. Like there's just so many ways of like leveraging the graph um, to kind of
Hmm.
enfranchise people who are disconnected. Because that's the thing, right? Like crypto is it's quite fractured. But if there are these like shared social graphs, I think this is really the superpower. This is what I took away from my conversation with like Sahil and Open Rank is the real superpower of Farcaster is its social graph. And I think also to kind of go back just a little bit more, one thing that Gramajo was saying in terms of like, why didn't Warcast do this? I'm going to give you the Dan answer, which is somebody else should build it. We're building the network, we're building the graph. People should be building these things on top of Farcaster, which, sure, I don't disagree. My thing is like, but maybe now that Rodeo has found, sure, I'll call it early PMF. Maybe you should be surfacing that or integrating Rodeo much more onto Warpcast, so it's easier to kind of like discover things, like you said, to the point of like my friends are minting this, like now get the network effects
Yeah.
uh, to kind of like accelerate the
Hmm.
discovery of
Yeah.
artwork and everything else happening
I
on Rodeo.
I think another interesting thing too that what I was gonna bring up earlier when you guys can hear me is that like I'm really enjoying this current meta or whatever we're calling it of Farcaster ecosystem apps or developers, not just sticking in Farcaster only, but also expanding to the Twitterverse. And it seems like the market is doing well with that. And hey, to me, it's a high level indication of clearly we all want to connect our data. Like we all want something that's connected to Warpcast, to Twitter, to Discord, to all these fragmented services into one area and reward people in that way. So I don't know, something to think about.
All right. Well, any last words before we cut out? Because it sounds like today we're gonna just keep this to an hour. Tree Girl, keep an eye out for their mint on Rodeo. I heard that something's dropping, so I'm gonna see how many X's I'm gonna need to add to to get this full collection. Gramajo wrote something on Paragraph on your newsletter about rodeo and some of the drama that's happening, which I don't even think we covered, but definitely go check that out. Anything? I mean, I wrote something a while ago that was actually written in collaboration with Zach Lip, and Sunny. They helped me kind of edit that, which is on the Crypto Sapiens newsletter. I got competition from who? Oh,
I'm gonna
Grama.
throw an offer.
Oh, whatever. You know what? I was doing this for the vibes, for the love and friendship. Y'all are just going. You guys are the DJs. I'm not. This is not my vibe. So go for it.
I'm trying to increase that floor price.
I know, right? But you know what? Knowing me, I'm gonna be as usual the one holding the bag.
Yes.
So it's fine. All righty. Well, 901 GM, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on. This has been a fun conversation. We'll be back
So
next week.
fun.
Have a great week, everybody.
Have a
See you
great
guys.
week. Happy Monday. See you.
So, you as well. Happy Monday.
Oh, see, I'm waiting for the message that says your audio's been
I know.
recorded.
They didn't.
I'm like, I know better.
Chris has got 45% uploaded.
Oh
He was
no.
one of the first ones out. I think his connection might not be great. I'll send him the link later and be like, can you please log
Please
in again?
log in. Yeah, let it do it. Yeah, because everybody jumped. I was like, no, don't do that.
I know. See,
Gotta wait.
you're an OG. You know. I can't even see Gramajo's. Oh yeah, everybody. No one's finished basically.
Oh no, you got to ping the whole chat and be like, come back.
Yeah, I will. Well, when I'm done with this, it'll send me an email saying, "Oh, these people, didn't finish." So send them an email. So I'll just copy that
Nice.
link and send it to them. This is fun though. Thank you so much, Peachy. It's always rad talking to you.
Oh my God, of course.